Very good evening to everybody watching. Thank you for joining us tonight on the agenda. My name is YaShiindi. Tonight on the platform, we are joined by Nghipudilo YaShiindi. She is many things. Maybe activist is the best way to sum up her work in Namibia or in the public life. And we are here to engage her just to pick her brain on a number of issues that she usually expresses herself on as an effort to keep important conversations going in our country. Thank you very much, Nghipudilo, for making time. I was trying to remember the first name that I used to call you, but you have since resigned from church. Did you ever go back to church, actually? Or you stood your ground to this day?
Good evening, Trevor. Thank you for having me. Evening to your viewers.
Yeah.
Going to church, it never crossed my mind ever since I excommunicated myself from church. I'm very fine.
Yeah, very fine.
Living my best life ever. Yeah.
Okay. Now, so I mean, just on that, really, how do you, when you need something, when you need blessings, when you need, there's that opportunity that you want, there's that job that you want, there's health that you want to just have to be healthy. Who do you ask for those kind of blessings from?
I take responsibility for my life and everything that happens. I don't need an extension to be healthy. I should make sure that I eat to keep myself or to nourish the body and not just to fill the stomach. So everything, it's in my hand.
Yeah.
And even the universe it kneels for me.
Uh-huh.
Yes, so I don't need an extension or somewhere else to beg for food. I work and provide for myself. Yes, I don't need to, if in terms of blessings like you asked, those ones I can get from my parents if I want to. I speak to my father. He's no more. He's now late. So I believe his spirit is always with me. If I go home, I go pay a visit where he's lying, and then we have a conversation. I have a conversation with my team, my ancestors, because I believe their blood flows in my veins. Yeah. They are with me. Yes.
Okay. You are no longer with Omthia Town Council. That is where you sort of first joined public life. Did you get paid? They were owing you a lot of money?
Yeah, before we get to that point, I think you are not having me here today as an IPC former councillor from Omthia, but you are having me as Nghipudilo YaShiindi, and our conversation is going to be around Nghipudilo YaShiindi and not an IPC former councillor. And yes, they paid.
They paid. Okay. Now I'm asking, of course, we are having a conversation in your capacity as an individual who stands on her own feet and grounds to express your views that you do, but it's important because it was a big topic in the public that for a long time the municipality there was refusing to pay you guys, you and another former councillor, and to the extent that I think at one point there were threats by our lawyers to attach council properties if they were not coming to the party. So I just wanted to make sure that they have eventually settled that.
Yeah, they did last year, somewhere towards the end of November.
Okay.
And the money is finished.
The money is finished already.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you describe yourself? You have a lot of opinions. I think as a young person you should. How do you sum up yourself? If someone was, I called you an activist. Does that describe sort of what you do lately, or how would you really sum yourself up?
It's hard to describe myself in a context of what society expect.
Yeah.
I just see myself as first and foremost as a human being, like anyone else. And I don't do well with labels or titles. Like you said, I'm an activist. I don't really see myself as an activist. I am Nghipudilo YaShiindi, and I'm content with just that.
Yeah.
But since we are living in a society where titles and tags are more important than the human being itself, or himself or herself, I think you are free to tag me what you think I am, but I'm just Nghipudilo YaShiindi, and I don't do what I do because I want to be called an activist. I think it's just a conviction within myself. It's a drive that I also can't explain, because I am raising issues that even risking rejection from my very own people. I have a mother who is very much concerned about what I'm doing, and she's concerned as a parent to say, my daughter, are you safe? Sometimes I'll be convinced, or people will talk to me to stop what I'm doing. I'll feel like, yeah, I need to stop, but I'll wake up one day and I just feel like it's a responsibility. It's a civic responsibility that I should do. And I'll see something which is not sitting well, either with the nation or just trying to hold the government accountable. I'll speak about it. Either it's comfortable to do so or uncomfortable. I am comfortable to speak about anything and everything that is affecting my Namibia, that is affecting the Namibian people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that you're not here in your political capacity, but how do your fellow patriots perceive you? For example, you are probably the most free-spirited person, one of the most free-spirited people that I know of. You speak your mind freely. You don't appear to be scared of anything or anyone. And you spoke about your mother.
Yeah.
How, because our parents believe, sometimes you must keep quiet, even if it's true or whatever. And along the way, you have experienced some legal troubles for expressing yourself. How does that sit with Nghipudilo YaShiindi, the political person? Does it land you in trouble with your party?
Not at all, or not yet.
Yeah.
Maybe if there's any trouble to come. You ask how my fellow patriots perceive me. I haven't really received any complaints so far, apart from, yes, some, not only patriots, but some Namibians that are like, in the comments, that are like, they don't like me when I'm talking about religion. They like when I'm talking about culture and national issues. That is the only complaint that I got so far, and I've decided, okay, I don't want to be confined. Since my political party, IPC, so far I haven't received any complaint from the leadership of what I'm doing, because since we are found on the rule of law, and also we respect the constitution. There's that specific article in the Namibian constitution that gives every Namibian freedom of expression. I did not receive any complaint or issues so far from the patriots. But what I've realized is that what I'm doing is not just me expressing myself. I'm talking about issues that are affecting Namibians, and many of us are seeing these issues. Many don't want to talk about what is happening, but I've decided to speak on those national issues that are affecting Namibians. And as you said, I sometimes maybe overstep or step on other people's toes, because if I am tackling or talking about corruption, those that are involved will obviously react. Hence, you find me in court or taken to court because, yes, I speak on things that are affecting Namibians, but there are individuals involved. Obviously, where there is corruption, people or individuals will be involved.
Yeah, they'll fight back.
Yeah, they will fight back.
And the irony is that that didn't seem to have shaken you. You are now on fire now, more on fire, when perhaps people thought by dragging you to court and making you issue public apologies, that from there maybe you would now be mellow and all that. We haven't seen that.
Toivo, we have institutions like court to decide when maybe someone overstep the law, and I respect that, but that will not stop me or will not stop the fire within from doing what I think is my role on this planet, specifically here in Namibia. I think I found myself, and I'm just here to try to make Namibia as it was envisioned by our forefathers. The founding father came up with Vision 2030, and we are few years into Vision 2030, but we didn't move any inch from where we were in 2004 when Vision 2030 was established. So I want to see, I'm hungry to see the Namibia that our late founding president envisioned when he came up with Vision 2030. And I think we'll only get to that, or I'll only be able to see that when we try to point to people to say, okay, you told us this, but you are now doing this. For example, the current president, female president, is talking about corruption being treason, but the action is not speaking to the words. So I'm trying just to keep the government in check and also just try to remind them of the promises they have made to the Namibians. And I'm hoping that it will lead us to the Namibia that we have envisioned.
Yeah. Yeah, you speak a lot about the current president. I think, and I suppose it comes with the territory. When you're in that office, you cannot avoid scrutiny. When she talks about corruption being treason, and you seem to think that, in what way do you think that she's not keeping those words? In what corruption is taking place that she's looking away, for example?
There's a lot of corruption that happened in this country, a lot of it. And I'm not seeing, her being in the office, I want to believe that she has the power and the mandate that the Namibian that voted for her and trusted in her to move and take action We want to see tangible action. And what I'm seeing here is just her singing the song of corruption being treason, but she's not acting and trying to hold people accountable. When she got in the office, we have seen the arrest of the NAMCO people. It's just one of those cases that needs serious action. But there are a lot of her fellow comrades that are alleged to be involved in corruption, but I'm still just seeing her dining with them instead of really using the power and the mandate that she have, or even just the office to make sure that those comrades face the law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, you gave examples of where corruption has been acted upon. NAMCOR is the major thing that has happened under this presidency. I don't know. I can't say that the president personally made sure that these guys were arrested, but obviously it happened during her time, and there are state institutions that are tasked to do that.
Yeah.
So of course credit will always go to the 8th administration in that sense. She has gotten rid of a minister that she has just appointed for a few months, who we are told violated a moratorium on issuing oil licenses or something like that, while there was a transition to move that mandate into the office of the president. And we are told that the way that license was issued was irregular, and the president acted. Of course, there's another minister. Of course, that corruption is a criminal allegation that also befell the other minister that was fired over allegations of bribery and stuff like that. So those are specific examples of anti-corruption activities that have taken place. But when it comes to those that she didn't do, you're not giving me specifics. You're just saying, oh, she dines with comrades. You have to be specific also, just like you are specific with the others.
Yeah, Toivo, I remember on SONA, the question was put, even the president, my president, Dr. Itola, asked the president as to why the deputy prime minister was fired. I didn't get the reasons. I don't know why. You're saying you were informed it was...
We reported about it in Namibian Sun. We were the only newspaper that reported on the exact reasons.
I read, and it got me now thinking, why, if that is the reason, why is it difficult for the president just to say, okay, this is what happened? She doesn't want to give the Namibian reasons as to why she fired Honorable Ithete.
It doesn't take away I understand that part, but it doesn't take away the fact that she acted. You think that she just woke up one morning and just fired the minister?
We don't know. Maybe Ithete stepped on her toes and then she decided, well, I'm getting rid of you. For as long as she is not giving us, I want to hear it from her mouth. She was asked in Parliament. She decided she's not going to inform the Namibian, yet she appointed that individual to serve us. Now she's not giving us reasons as to why she fired him. So I don't know if it's corruption, yet I made noise about, just a bit about what I heard was happening, but I'm not convinced that is the reason why Honorable Ithete was kicked out of his office. Yeah.
No, I understand that. I mean, I would have wanted, as a journalist myself, I would have wanted those reasons to be made public. It is something that has happened in our country for a long time that, except in the case of Mekengari, the reasons were put out to say that there are serious allegations, and as a result, we can't, in good conscience, continue with him in cabinet.
Even that one is also still not clear in the world that where I'm living in, because you hear Mark Engari was fired. I have seen a letter of him resigning. I don't know which one is which, but I know he got arrested. So it's confusing.
Yeah.
But there are serious corruption happened in this country. Obviously, they didn't happen when Mekulu Netumbo is in the presidential office, but those whole corruption happened when she is part of the administration, be it as a minister or a cabinet member. But now that she's in the office and she know this corruption happened, especially the fish rot one. I'm sorry, but I have to just mention names here. I can be taken to court again.
It's a free country.
If that happens, we have seen specifically Comrade Sisa Namandje appeared in the fish rot documentary. I understand it can be used in court, but we have seen his face there. We have heard him saying things, but he's a free man. As a lawyer with a law firm that was used to wash, I call it washing, the fish rot money. And we also have the other lawyer, which is de Klerk, which is, he's being wanted. He's a wanted lawyer. They all facilitated fish rot. They all washed fish rot money. But the other lawyer is wanted. This one is safe. And I keep asking myself, is it he safe because he's a SWAPO member? Is he safe because he really didn't do anything wrong compared to de Klerk what is happening? Yeah.
So if I comment, I saw the documentary. And in the documentary, I saw, of course, there's the part of money being put in the trust of the law firm. That part, I don't know how it works technically. But in the documentary, I saw Sisa Namandje. He can speak for himself.
Have you seen de Klerk in the documentary?
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
But in the documentary, I saw Sisa Namandje talking to some people.
Warning people.
Yeah, he was warning them.
Yeah.
No, he was saying, he said, there's somebody who was talking about bribery, and then he said, no, I don't want to talk about those things. And then he said, I can advise you how to legally do things. How is that, if you're advising people to do things legally, how is that not correct?
Is it a legal act?
No, if you say, okay, there are people, investors, and they want to do this, and they want to do this, and we are looking for connections, and you say, look, because connections, there's nothing wrong with connections per se, except when they tread into the corrupt space. But if you say, look, I can advise you how to legally do things here, that is what we want to hear from people like yourself and myself.
Yeah, indeed. You advise people to do things legally, but fish rot, I'm not seeing it as a legal act. Yes, maybe in the legal fraternity it was legal, but today we have people in prison because of fish rot.
SWAPO members.
Yeah. So Comrade Sisa Namandje's comrades.
No, because
and they were together.
You said this.
I've seen, okay, not together as in together in doing everything, but what I have seen in the documentary, I would say Sisa Namandje participated. His law firm also was used to channel fish rot money to SWAPO, and he himself even confirmed to say, yes, I have received SWAPO's money and I've channeled, and I have seen documents from ACC. I have files of fish rot documents, and I I even have seen Sisa Namandje's affidavit.
Yeah.
I've seen accounts how money was channeled to the ruling party through Sisa Namandje's law firm, and I just feel and strongly believe that Sisa Namandje need to, or maybe ACC, and it's just complicated because these comrades in one circle. So I feel like in as much as perhaps they want to investigate the books of Sisa Namandje, which the Law Society wanted to do, but I think, I don't know, the process they used didn't lead to what they intended to do. I strongly believe that Sisa Namandje needs to open his books.
Yeah.
What is he scared of? Why can't he just say, okay, well, guys, here are my books. You can go through them and see if there was any wrongdoing from my end. And then we'll be vindicated. Otherwise, for now, we'll keep on asking questions because why is he not opening his books? Why is ACC not investigating fully? I read somewhere in those ACC documents, they say they're not investigating Sisa Namandje's law firm, but they investigated de Klerk's law firm's books.
Yeah.
Why not Sisa Namandje's one? Is it because of the bond that they have as comrades, or what is the reason? So I think I'll only sleep well when really ACC or whatever entity is responsible for making sure that Sisa Namandje's law firm is investigated in terms of fish rot corruption.
I understand.
Yeah.
We go for a very short break and return with Nghipudilo, YaShiindi. It is the agenda, and we are talking to Nghipudilo, YaShiindi. Now, I don't want for the viewers to think that I conveniently went on a break because you were making the point that you were making. Because I get a lot of people who do not understand how these things work and say, yeah, she was making a good point, and this guy just stopped the thing to go to a break. I think your point is understood. What I am saying only is that the people that are in jail over fish rot are actually SWAPO people. Sisa Namandje is not there, but you have 2 cabinet ministers, and I think all those other people are really SWAPO people. So the point that somehow Sisa is being protected because it's SWAPO doesn't seem to hold water for me.
Yeah, it might not hold water for you, but to some of us, it's something serious, and I just want it to be cleared. We Namibians need to know why is Sisa still, in fact, representing the government. He goes to those court as the government representative, yet we still have him as part of fish rot, not really part of fish rot, but he is being alleged to be the midwife actually of fish rot, because he assisted these people to loot the country legally. He guided them to say, okay, well, guys, I'll guide you on how to do this thing legally. So, and that is my problem. Now, when we are in our political homes, there are levels. You know, you don't just sit at every table. There is a table to say this one is for the leaders and this one is for the supporters. Now the ministers in jail, we appreciate that, yes, they are comrades, but Sisa Namandje, what is his relationship with those that are in government leadership positions? At once, he was the president's lawyer. So he's not, the other ones were ministers and all that, but Sisa, I feel like his role is bigger than that of the ministers, either in the party as the Politburo member or either as in government as the representative or legal representative of the president. I don't know the current lawyer of the current president, but I know he has been, I feel like maybe there are things that Sisa know more about these people than the comrades in prison, and that's why the system is scared of lifting its fingers against Sisa Namandje. And I mean, it's also obvious that many of the leaders, either ACC director, his daughter is an employee of Comrade Sisa Namandje. The son of the current president was also an employee there, so maybe
the Sisa Namandje, if you like, has survived, if that is the word, 3 presidents. Hage Geingob, of course, you said he was his personal lawyer. Maybe you could argue that that is the relationship to protect him. Nangolo Mbuba came in office, and now the current president. Why is it that all 3 presidents somehow, if you think that the action must start from there, could anyone survive 3 presidents and not get prosecuted if they really did something wrong?
The 3 presidents didn't fall from heaven, Toivo. They are comrades. So,
but they are comrades also in jail with, these are also comrades. That's what I'm saying to you.
Yeah, I hear you, but the relationship might not be the same with the other president and the ministers that are in prison, and this very specific one, Comrade Sisa Namandje, his relationship with those people might not be the same as the relationship the former ministers had with those leaders now. So those are just my assumptions. What I am trying to say here is that I want action, legal action, to be taken against Sisa Namandje. If there will be no any legal action, if there is no any wrongdoing that Sisa Namandje did pertaining to fish rot, it must be clear to all of us, because I'm now having sleepless nights because I receive so many complaints from those that are affected, the fishermen and everyone from that industry that lost their livelihood because of fish rot. And now we have an individual that feels more, maybe more Namibian than others while being involved in fish rot. We just want him to open up and tell us what really happened, or the institutions that are responsible for holding people accountable to say, well, this is what we did. We haven't found any wrongdoing in terms of Sisa Namandje. I understand he's now the state witness in the case, which I feel like ACC needed to do more. The fact that they refused to investigate to investigate Sisa Namandje's law firm in this case, but they investigated. There's a whole lot of information about how de Klerk's law firm was involved, but Sisa Namandje's one, his books remains closed until today. And that is the headache that I'm having as a patriotic Namibian that want to see a corruption-free country, not just corruption by individuals that are not in our circle, those that are in leadership now. Corruption of officials that gave employment to their relatives. I want to see big fish being held accountable in this country, not just the small ones.
Okay, it's a good point. I think there are big fish. The fish that are in jail now cannot get any bigger. I think that is as big as a fish can get. But I understand your point to say that maybe you need more of those, more of that level.
And maybe just to add on that corruption is not just about fish rot in this country. There's a lot of corruption going on in here. For example, within the Ministry of Health, hospitals are without medicine, but we know there's a lot going on there, but it's not surfacing. It's not coming out. People are just zigzagging with the case. What is so difficult?
I understand. So just before I want to move into that now, but just for the record, can you just state that your agitation around Sisa Namandje is not due to the fact that he successfully sued you, if you like, of course. I mean, he represented that military man that you had to apologize to. He was the man that made you apologize. Do you have a bone to chew with him?
It actually has nothing to do with the case. He was doing his work as a lawyer, and he did just that. I don't think I have a bone to chew with Sisa Namandje, but I just want the arm of the law to reach him pertaining to fish rot. Does he have any part to play? Did he do any wrong pertaining to fish rot or not? I just want that to be cleared.
Okay, no, that's fine.
Yeah, and if he see that as maybe something against him, so be it. Yeah, because I've seen somewhere where he's saying, I'm now probably a cyber bully, and he felt, because I always talk about him. I just want, and I believe I'm not the only one that want Sisa Namandje to be cleared from these fish rot allegations. So it's either he's clear or he's not. Something needs to happen for us to be sure of where he is really standing. Because they didn't touch him, they avoided him. But I want ACC to investigate, because the Law Society of Namibia failed. They tried, but they failed. Sisa Namandje must open his books.
On health, of course, we haven't seen anyone arrested yet. I personally have a strong feeling that it's just a matter of time before someone arrested, and I could be wrong also. But I know that there's been some investigations going on there. The minister, Lubindao, has submitted a dossier to ACC. She made a statement in Parliament that she has submitted a dossier to ACC. ACC was in the papers recently acknowledging that there is indeed that. So it looks as if there's some movement there. It's not standing still.
And
there are people suspended in the meantime.
There are people suspended in the meantime, but I just feel like ACC sometimes also, I don't know, maybe the investigations are a bit complex sometimes, but we expected some arrest somewhere last year in the evenings of last year's elections. But nothing happens. But I also feel maybe they also learned from the NAMCO case. You shouldn't be fast to arrest, otherwise it will
backfire.
backfire and also won't serve the purpose of really dealing with the case hands-on. But it's just not moving. It's not getting anywhere. So because last year, when we had no ACCs at Ministry of Health, we thought by now we could have that sorted or surfaced really to see what is really happening, because the corruption in the Ministry of Health is affecting heavily the Namibians' lives, because we have people that are on chronic treatment and that medicine is not in the hospital. And as a result, some of us lost our parents. My father died because he was on chronic treatment. He was living with a chronic disease, but if we don't have money to buy medicine from the private pharmacies that are owned by comrades, then he won't have medicine. So the Ministry of Health one should be treated as an emergency, and I felt like it needed to be prioritized so that we get to the root cause of the shortage of medicine in the hospitals.
Yeah. Speaking of that, Nghipudilo, there is also this whole thing of procuring medicine directly from manufacturers, the new thing that the government is experimenting with. They are calling it an experiment, of course, but is that not also part of the broader fight against corruption? Because what has been happening in that ministry over the years, where people you hear condom tender, you hear these bloated, inflated figures, 650 million for one guy, another 400 and something for another guy, and that was also the mother of the beginning of the shortage of medicine in hospitals, because the whole thing has been too commercialized. People seeking to make $1 out of it. And those officials that have been suspended, they were working in cahoots with some of these characters. Is that also not a sign of a government trying to contain corruption?
Yeah, probably on the surface, one could see it as a sign of government trying to deal with corruption. But if you are to really dive into what is happening, you would then still just ask yourself, are we really trying to deal with corruption, or we are doing away with others so we can do our own? Because direct procurement, you could then ask yourself, where are we procuring medicine directly? Whose company? What relationship do we have with those people? I don't want to go into that, but I just want to ask you, Toivo, we were informed that there were medicine that were procured directly, and as a result, some millions were saved. What happened? Where is the million that was saved? What happened to it?
What do you mean, where?
Where is the medicine that was procured directly when hospitals are still without medicine? I receive complaints, I have messages from individuals that are directly affected to say, I have asthma, and when I go to the hospital, there's no medicine.
Yeah.
So where is it?
It's a fair question. I thought the situation had gotten better, but I don't know really in terms of the availability.
It's worse
of medicine, because I
worse.
know that it used to be really bad. Doctors don't have gloves, medical gloves. Needles are not there. Anesthetic things. If you are giving birth through cesarean scissor, there was nothing to make you numb. Or
Still,
whatever
there's
it's called.
nothing.
So I don't know, but I'm just saying again. Of course, it's a legitimate question. If the shortage persists, it's a legitimate question. But I personally think that direct procurement, because there'll always be those questions now. Oh, because I'm no longer going through Nghipudilo and I'm doing it directly with a company from Switzerland. What relationship do I have with a company like that? Questions will always be like that, and I think it's up to government to prove that there's nothing else. But we had a situation of tenders going to the procurement board, and then this one gets awarded the tender, and then this one says, no, the process was unfair. In the meantime, hospitals are there waiting. Then this one goes to court, and then you hear there's a 5-year-old child that has a company. Chaotic. And people are dying. I think that was just negligent. So I'll be very mortified if the situation has gotten worse, as you allege. I have to investigate that myself as a journalist.
It is.
Yeah.
So I'm not seeing any improvement. I'm seeing the situation worsening. Yet we have that direct.
Must we bring back the middleman? Is that what you're saying?
They even say it themselves that they are not saying they are doing away with middlemen. They are just trying to see how probably they will manage their procurement process. But doing away with middlemen, I don't think it's possible, because even themselves, they are doing it through a middleman, maybe not just a black middleman like of your skin color, but someone is involved to get them to the companies that they are procuring directly from.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. People are saying, when you get rid of, because I think the middlemen here in government, even in my interview with the president recently, she said they're not doing away with middlemen just like that, but they have to be, first, there has to be a genuine need for a middleman, and they have to price government correctly, as opposed to the past where people just thought government is a cash cow.
Yeah.
But we have become a nation that has made middlemen the life and blood of our procurement systems. How is it that you have people who supply government with stationaries?
Mm-hmm.
You have officials in your ministry that can just walk over to Waltons and another at least 3 suppliers.
We have procurement departments within our entities.
Yeah.
But we can't do it directly. So
to buy pens, you need a third party to do that for you. I thought that was just a system to.
It's a system.
To eat, and I think for me the government position that they want to do away with middlemen when they are absolutely not needed, I think we should welcome it. Maybe there are loose ends in how it's being done. Now it's a new thing. We are still getting used to it, but I think really the principle is correct.
Yeah, the principle might be correct. I don't have an issue with it, but I want to see tangible action or evidence that indeed we put the middleman aside, and these are the results. We're not seeing the results. It's worse.
I understand.
So I don't know how to describe it, but all I know is that hospitals are without medicine and our people are dying. They're suffering. Many of them can't afford to buy medicine from private pharmacies. Yeah.
I forgot to put this question to you when we were talking about corruption. Because if you are steadfast, if your principle on corruption is as you say it is, I remember seeing your post when a good friend of mine, Mr. Dirk Conradi, when he got convicted of corruption.
Yeah.
Your position on corruption suddenly changed. You were no longer.
How?
No, you were. I don't remember.
What was the post about? The content.
No, you were painting him as a victim of some sort.
No.
A victim of the system and all those kind of things. I can't remember the exact wording of your post, but you had this sympathetic posture
Yeah.
on him. But you are saying the Sisa Namandjes must be arrested, the others must whatever. Why?
Yeah. I was not being sympathetic at all. I made a comparison to say, if the system is serious in fighting corruption, as it did with my senior Conradi, for attempting, it was not an act, it was an attempt, corruption.
Yes, like attempted murder, you get arrested for
Yes,
that.
yes. So if we are serious with fighting corruption and we can sentence someone or find someone guilty for an attempted corruption which didn't happen, then
It was intercepted.
yeah, then the same energy must apply to everywhere there is allegation of corruption. It's a good move that, okay, maybe they want to prove that if you attempt, because it's in the ACC's Act, so they will take action. Good one. Take action and don't look at who is involved in this act. Take action, same action, use the same energy to anyone involved, even if this individual is your best friend, even if this individual is your child.
Let me give you an
The
example.
action must be the same.
Let me give you an example where the action was actually the same. Mek Hengari was found allegedly trying to bribe someone. They intercepted the actual bribery, just like officials intercepted the alleged bribery of Mr. Conradi for Sarah Damascene to get stakes in that company. It is exactly the same. In what world are we saying suddenly that we must be now, Mr. Conradi is being treated unfairly, but the likes of a cabinet minister, a sitting cabinet minister, was arrested for something similar?
Yeah, I don't really want to dwell much into Mark Hengari's case.
No, just the principle. We don't have to discuss the merits.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying,
I also don't want to compare it with Conradi's one.
why not?
Because for Mark Hengari's case, it's confusing for me, and I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's compare Conradi's case with the real corruption, because Mark Hengari's one had to do with family issues and not really corruption in public office. And my fight is corruption in public offices, and I want to hold people accountable. Public entities, public funds.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is where my fight is, because that is the reason why we are not moving as a country into a prosperous Namibia that our late founding father envisioned.
Yeah.
So let's try to compare Conradi's case with, for example, the corruption in August 26.
Yeah.
So that is what really corruption is. People known to be involved in corruption, but no action is being taken. You hear someone suspended, the person is home on suspension, but the person is receiving an income. We're not fighting corruption.
You're not guilty yet, but I understand.
Yeah,
your
not
point.
guilty yet, but we need to take action.
Yeah.
And when we are taking action, we need to be very serious. And as I'm saying, serious without looking at where is this one coming from, maybe in terms of political affiliation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Mr. Noah's contract is coming to an end in June. You may want to throw in your application when the position is advertised. Yeah. No, the very last question, we've run out of time. Just really briefly, you spoke about someone, I think you were referring to Sisa Namandje calling you a bully or whatever.
Cyberbullying.
Yeah.
And I
Are
think
you, are you that?
No, I'm not.
Because I see a lot of that on your. I'm not bullying, but I see this week you were talking about Pam Shelenga having 15 degrees. The man has 15 degrees.
Yeah.
What is wrong with that?
Nothing
And you're
wrong with
calling him one of the most useless or whatever you called him. But you know, do you wake up with a name on top of your head to say that today this is the candidate for attack, or what? Why do you have so many?
No. I'm not a bully. At least I don't see myself as such. I've seen they even moved into trying to come up with an act that will regulate our presence on social media. I just speak on issues that are happening. You also know these things are happening. Either I speak on them or not, they are happening, we all know. But I think I've decided to be comfortable in my skin and just speak on anything that I see that is eating on my Namibia or feeding on my Namibia. For Honorable Pea Moshelenga himself, I expected him, I mean, he's a well-learned individual, and with all those qualifications, how many employment opportunities have he created for Namibians? Because unemployment is a crisis in this country. But him, I'm sorry, but him with all those qualifications, what have he contributed?
I learned this week, surprisingly by pure coincidence, that he taught at university for 9 years pro bono. To give back to society. I didn't
Which
know
university
about
is that?
I think UNAM, and he taught at NAST also, which I thought, if it's true, it's a big thing. But
I should agree with you on that if it's true.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that I'm a student myself, and I'm trying to see where I can cite him in my research papers, but I can't find any article that with all those qualifications, it looks like he didn't contribute to the body of knowledge.
I understand. My sister, it was a pleasure talking to you.
Oh, thank you. It was nice having me, Toivo.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that is Nghipudilo YaShiindi. She is doesn't want the labels, but I consider her an activist who scrutinizes actions of government and other leaders, and she was on the platform just to share with us her perspectives. Thank you for watching.